our next presentation, which is from Flow Diffuse, a cognitive perspective from Kyros, and I'm going to play that video right away.
Flow is a state of mind or an experience, a state of experience that we feel when we're totally involved in what we're doing. I began to...
Introduced by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in the 70s, today flow is an extremely popular concept. Most of us have an intuition about what flow is. It's what chess players, rock climbers, and gamers such as this experience. But maybe we would say that these people are in a state of immersion, or absorption, or presence, or engagement. Several works have criticized flow for being an ambiguous concept or for lacking theoretical robustness. Many of these works produce their own interpretations of flow, but Csikszentmihalyi's work is so popular that it is his definition and his theory that remain prevalent in the literature. This is especially true in games research. For example, during the last 3 years, 1 in 4 works published at Kaiplay referred to Csikszentmihalyi's flow. So, given its relevance, we decided to conduct a scrutiny of Csikszentmihalyi's definition of flow. For this, we used a series of theories from cognitive science. Why cognitive science? This is because flow is a state of consciousness, and consciousness is modulated by cognitive processes underlying attention. Moving on to flow's definition. You probably recognize these 9 elements. What our cognitive scrutiny showed is that there are ambiguities in flow's theory, and depending on how we interpret these ambiguities, there are 2 cases. Case 1 is that, based on theory on unconscious processing in action control, flow's definition is incompatible with automatic action execution, which is a key feature in Csikszentmihalyi's theory. Case 2 is that the first component of flow's definition, the merging of action and awareness, is incompatible with components 2 to 6. In this case, things such as the sense of control or agency would describe retrospective thoughts that people have about the experience. So, like others before us, we concluded that flow is an ambiguous concept and that it is inconsistent with cognitive science theory. To address these issues, but avoid adding yet another definition of flow, we propose a new concept that, unlike flow, is grounded in cognitive science. We call this concept fuse. As a word, fuse means to join or blend to form a single entity. Let's see what it means in our work's context. While flow is defined by all of this, fuse has a precise, single-component definition that allows it to address the ambiguities and inconsistencies of flow. Fuse's definition is the fusion of activity-related sensory stimuli and awareness. This definition may seem like a small tweak to flow's first element, the merging of action and awareness, but it has far-reaching implications. First, fuse helps reduce conceptual ambiguity. This is because fuse is a relatively narrow concept. Fuse is a state where we become one with the sensory stimuli. There are no thoughts, no attribution of meaning, conscious evaluations, planning, or mental modeling, and where action execution is automatically triggered by sensory stimuli. All of this means that while both cerebral games like chess and instinct-based games like Flappy Bird are considered flow-friendly, only the latter would be fuse-friendly. Second implication, fuse is explainable by cognitive science, or in other words, fuse allows to propose a model that hypothesizes the cognitive processes underlying the experience without the need to redefine what the concept is, like others did with flow. You can check out the details of our proposed model for fuse in our paper. Third implication, fuse can serve as a new design lens. In fact, we use our cognitive model for fuse to derive a series of design heuristics that we exemplify in the context of video games. For an example, let's take number 2, facilitate learning with predictable systems. This heuristic suggests that the system should have simple enough rules producing patterns that the player can recognize and react to. Rhythmic games like Guitar Hero are a good example of this. Importantly, This design heuristic contrasts with flows, since it suggests that to elicit views, having clear patterns that the player can react to is more important than having clear goals that the player can pursue. And here you can think about an expert guitar player improvising a solo. He or she does not follow the goal established by the music sheet, but automatically plays the notes that fit the patterns created by previous notes. When this happens, when you are truly just sensing without thinking, all your attention and resources are on the sensory stimuli, and your consciousness will be fused with them. So, in conclusion, flow can be a useful concept, but its issues contribute to conceptual vagueness and curb theoretical robustness in the literature. Our fused theoretical framework, consisting of our fused definition, model, and design heuristics, is yet to be tested, but we see it as part of a growing effort to engage the community in the process of refining the concepts and the theory we use. We invite everyone to join the discussion. Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Kyros. If you could come on video, Kyros, that we could just see if there are any questions coming from the audience.
I think I am, right? Can you see me?
Yeah. Sorry, I just have to wait until you actually say something until the video pops up for me. Okay, so we got a question from Joe Cutting saying, very interesting talk. It reminds me of Kahneman's idea of fast and slow processing. Would you say that fuse happens when we do fast processing, but not slow processing?
Yeah, good question. Kahneman's dual process theory is one of the theories we use to scrutinize flow. And yeah, the idea would be under Kahneman's theoretical framework, you could say that during fuse, people have only act with system, is it 2 or 1? I don't remember which one, but yeah, the one that bypasses all conscious awareness. And also regarding Kahneman's, it's also relevant because you may have seen, remember that in the presentation, it says that the sense of control or agency wouldn't be, it's something that the individual maybe remembers, but it's not something that is actually experienced. And that is also related to Kahneman's theory about the remembering self, which distinguish the experiencing self and the things we actually remember, but maybe not experience consciously.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I do say that we got a whole lot of questions pouring in here, but we're also on a very tight timeline. So I'm trying to accommodate both of these. I'll maybe ask you one more question, and then if you could just go into the Q&A and maybe just type the answers for the other ones, I think that would be much appreciated. So one more question that I want to ask is, do you propose any methods for measuring fuse? Have you thought about that? Because obviously you're trying to make this, to operationalize this flow concept more with the introduction of fuse. So did you think about any methods, or do you have any plans in that direction?
Yeah, absolutely. This should be tested. This is just a proposal for now. But yeah, there could be methods, and I would have to get into some of the model to explain methods. But yeah, at the end of the paper, there are some methods proposed to evaluate the fuse experience and the heuristics. But again, I would be happy to discuss this in more extension. But,
Yeah, and again, obviously, this is always a good sign. I did want to mention again that your paper did won an honorable mention award, so congratulations to that. And I'd say if you can, I don't know if this is open for you, the Q&A panel, if you can type the answers, otherwise our SVs will move them over to Midspace and you can answer them there. And I'll just move on to the next papers now, but I did want to congratulate you again for winning that honorable mention. I do think you've written a paper that will have an impact on the community here, so congrats.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the questions. And yeah, we can discuss with everyone any questions you have. I'll be super happy to do it.